Head. Pumpkinhead 1988. Keep it techie. I think I'm gonna need you to change your header to the Ghost of Noya. You think I'm playing? I thought about the Ghost of Noya all night last night. So yes, Pumpkinhead 1988, directed by Stan Winston. If you are a fan of Aliens, then you know why Aliens, the Xenomorph, and Pumpkinhead have similar physical traits. They were created by the same costume creator, designer, monster creator, the great Stan Winston. So yes, this stars Lance Henriksen, everybody's favorite go-to bad guy. He also was in the Aliens movies as well. So okay, here we go. Let's get into it. 1957, Tom and Ellie refused to help a man in need. Apparently, the man had killed a girl, and Pumpkinhead is after him. So he's knocking on their door. Please help, help, help. No one interferes with Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead's come do work. You stay out of Pumpkinhead's way, okay? Pumpkinhead then kills the man. The son watches Pumpkinhead. He actually sees Pumpkinhead, okay? And in this lore, it's a bad thing to actually witness Pumpkinhead in the flesh. So the young son at the time was Ed Hardy. Ed Harley. Present day Ed is grown with his own family. He has a little boy. His name is Billy. Billy has these little Coke bottle glasses, blonde hair. We don't know what happened to the mother. We assume the mother died early on. So it's just father and son, okay? The little boy gives Ed, his father, a necklace. So this would be key towards the end, all right? So then they run a day store, right? So then it's out in the woods, in the wilderness, whatever the case may be. So a group of adult teens are headed to some cabins in the area. They stop at the store, right? They stop at Ed's store, and then they meet little Billy. One of the adults makes fun of Billy's Coke bottle glasses, okay? So you already see where this is going. There's a joke about Pumpkinhead used to scare little children into acting correctly because Mr. Wallace comes into town for feed, and his kids they're like poor white trash kids, and they're all making jokes about the Pumpkinhead story. Okay, so then two of the brothers of the adult teens hop on dirt bikes, so they're racing around a dirt bike near the store, near Ed's store with Billy and this dog. Okay, so then the father leaves the son at the store to go give monies owed to Mr. Wallace because he forgot to bring the money. The dog runs out of the store. Billy goes to run to catch the dog. Billy gets hit in the chest by one of the dirt bike motorcycles. Okay, so Billy's knocked the fuck out. Right, Billy's all fucked up. So then the teen adults panic. They flee the store. They leave the boy's body. One person stays behind. One of the boys stays behind Billy's body. Now, initially, I thought he was dead. I thought Billy was dead because I'm like, ain't no coming back from a guy hit in the chest with a motorcycle, right? So then the father returns. Ed returns. He's looking for Billy. He discovers the scene. The one boy that stayed with him said, "Hey man, it was an accident," whatever the case may be. So then, as he picks Billy up, you realize Billy's not dead. Okay, I'm like, okay, that's great. Take him to the hospital. No, country people don't take their children to the hospital. They take them to the house. He takes Billy's body home, right? Then the teens go to the cabin. They speed to the cabins, right? Joel, the one who killed Billy, is already on probation and beats up one of his friends and holds the car keys hostage. Billy, before he dies, with his last breath, he says, "Daddy," and then he dies in Ed's arms. Ed then takes his body to the old woman Haggis, because he's asking all his neighbors, "I need to find the old woman," because the old woman knows about Pumpkinhead, right? So then Haggis tells Ed raising the dead ain't in her power. Ed tells Haggis he wants to summon Pumpkinhead. She leaves Billy's body with Haggis. He goes up to the old path to go dig up Pumpkinhead's body. Because at this point, Pumpkinhead's like a little shriveled up little thing. Okay, so then it grows, but whatever. The teens are then holed up in the cabins. Ed then brings Pumpkinhead's body to Haggis. So Pumpkinhead basically is a demon of vengeance. Now I find it funny that, and now this is where I kind of deviate a little bit. A lot of church folk, or so-called church folk, as much as they claim to be hardcore Bible-ists, whatever the case may be, and they believe in angels, I sure get a lot of attention when I talk about demons. For whatever reason, however your viewpoint on demons was, whatever the case may be, every time I talk about demons, I get more upticks about demon talk than any subject I've ever encountered on this YouTube thing. So I find it highly ironic that black folk, being the most spiritual people on this planet, supposedly, when I talk about demons and shit, I get more upticks, I get more responses, I get more people triggered than anything else. I just find it ironic, that's all. So let's get into what Pumpkinhead actually is. Pumpkinhead is called the Demon of Vengeance, or simply Vengeance. Okay? Wait. Okay, wait. I just want to get into its thing. I don't want to break down too much. Okay, so Pumpkinhead embodies the conjurer's hate, desire for vengeance, and their unforgiving of their wrongdoers. This makes Pumpkinhead an unforgiving monster who brutally kills people. He enjoys the agony he puts his victims through, and sometimes it appears to let its targets escape him deliberately, just to draw out his cat and mouse game even longer, just for his victims' suffering and his amusement. As a revenge demon, Pumpkinhead's priority is to make its victim have painful deaths. Pumpkinhead is sadistic and will go, in fact, out of its way to make killings more horrible. Pumpkinhead cannot be distracted from his task, though usually only kills at night for unknown reasons, thus taking breaks in its mission. The demon will not kill random people in its way, unless they try to stop it, in which case he has no qualms with murdering them too. All right, so now the teens are holed up in the cabins. Ed brings Pumpkinhead's body to Haggis. Haggis then draws the blood from Ed and the dead boy Billy. She then pours the blood into Pumpkinhead's body, and Pumpkinhead instantly begins to start forming and growing. Okay, and then it comes to life as Ed passes out. So now there's instantly a psychic bond between Pumpkinhead and Ed because of the blood. Blood is what ties us, like the blood of the land, blood of soil. So that's how important the blood is. Okay. As Ed takes Billy's body back home, Ed then imagines Billy waking up and Billy asking, "What did you do, Daddy?" Then he snaps out of it. As Ed buries Billy's body, Pumpkinhead kills his first victim, as Ed is psychically linked to Pumpkinhead and can share Pumpkinhead's vision. So he can see what Pumpkinhead sees every time he goes to kill. All right? Pumpkinhead's at the cabin and then kills his second victim, Becky. Ed can hear and see her scream as Pumpkinhead tortures Becky by scratching a cross into her face before killing her. Ed then goes to Haggis. He begs Haggis to stop Pumpkinhead from killing. He has a change of heart. Haggis tells Ed there's nothing she can do. Pumpkinhead then kills his third victim, Kim. He drops her from a tree onto a rock. Ed then comes across the bodies of the former victims. The 3 remaining victims go to a neighbor's for help. They come across a woodsman and his dog. The woodsman tells them they're marked, and he can't help them. Pumpkinhead then shows up. Ed then shoots at Pumpkinhead, knocking it down with a shotgun. Joe, the actual person that killed Billy, approaches Pumpkinhead's body thinking Pumpkinhead is dead. Pumpkinhead then grabs Joe and then impales him on the end of a shotgun. The woodsman's dog then attacks Ed, bites Ed in the arm, and then this is the first time you see Pumpkinhead actually wince in pain. So as Ed's arm's being attacked, you see Pumpkinhead kind of look at his arm and kind of go down on one knee. So that's our first clue as to how you can defeat Pumpkinhead, okay? The remaining 2 victims show at Mr. Wallace, looking for help. One of Mr. Wallace's sons, Hunt, he wants to see Pumpkinhead for himself. So after they tell the victims, no, we can't help you, get away from our house, Hunt sneaks out and says he'll take them to a church, a holy ground where they think they'll be safe. Hunt then explains the story of Pumpkinhead. The victims then confess to what happened to Ed's son, Billy. Pumpkinhead then shows up at the church. The victims then run off. Ed then shows up to the Wallaces, demanding him help him stop it. Ed is then driven off by the Wallaces. They say, hey, that's not our beef. The victims then find a... Oh, shit, wait a minute. What is that? Okay, I'm sorry. One of the victims finds a dirt bike. So as he gets on the dirt bike, he starts revving it. Pumpkinhead shows up, and Pumpkinhead has the chain. He's waving the chain. And then he picks up the bike with the dude on it and then throws it, right? And then Wallace's son, Hunt, and the last female victim run into Ed. Pumpkinhead then begins to torture his victim by stepping on his back and then drags him off. Back at Ed's, he's told it was an accident as Ed prepares to try to kill Pumpkinhead with a flamethrower. Okay? Pumpkinhead then shows up with his dead latest victim. The son, Hunt, is then discovered and then dragged out by Pumpkinhead. Because at this point, Pumpkinhead assumes you're trying to help the victims. So he's a marked person as well. So then, as the boy's being dragged out, Ed had accidentally stabbed himself in the shoulder with a pitchfork. Because he's dragging his flamethrower outside, and he stepped on the pitchfork and stabbed himself in the shoulder. Then you see Pumpkinhead once again kind of wince in pain. All right? Tracy, the final victim, attacks Pumpkinhead with a flamethrower to no avail. Ed then runs to his truck to grab a revolver and then shoots himself in an effort to kill himself and Pumpkinhead. So he shoots himself, Pumpkinhead goes down, and then Ed's hand starts moving. So then that means Pumpkinhead's still alive. So then Pumpkinhead grabs Wallace's son, Hunt, as Ed tells Tracy, kill him. He tells her to shoot me, kill me. So she shoots him 3 more times in the chest, killing Ed, and then Pumpkinhead goes down. And then Pumpkinhead's body then bursts into flames. Okay, so after the whole aftermath is over with, Haggis then buries the new version of Pumpkinhead into the pumpkin patch. And it's Ed. And how we know it's Ed? Because he's wearing the necklace that Billy made for him at the very beginning of the movie. So every time the old Pumpkinhead dies, whoever was soul connected to that version, it becomes a new version of Pumpkinhead. So there's like 2 or 3 Pumpkinhead movies. I'm not gonna go through all that shit, but that was like, for me, back in '89 when I first seen this, it was very, very interesting. I liked it. I liked it. I don't know what to tell y'all. Pumpkinhead scared me back. Yo, you watching Pumpkinhead like at 2 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, and then the crazy thing is, like, when Pumpkinhead shows up, you hear these crickets and shit. Like, so if you live out in the country, you hear the cicadas. So every time Pumpkinhead shows up, you hear these cicadas chirping, and they kind of add to the whole ambiance of Pumpkinhead.